these films take on, you, as a writer, artist, director, you're inspired by something and then it becomes something else. So there's a lot of things, and it takes a while to get, and one of the few nice things about waiting so long to get the film made is you can put more time into it and really finesse the script and what it's all about, so you can add more layers while you're waiting for your movie to get made over time. But yeah, I don't want to. I try not to get too into any specific details because that's obviously very personal stuff. But yeah, it was inspired by true stuff.
It was always. Maybe you mentioned this before, but it wasn't. Was it always set in this place of Vegas, or did?
No, not at all. It was set in New York for the first 7 years, and then this Las Vegas company said, "We'll finance your movie, but you have to move it to Las Vegas." So I had only experienced Vegas by, going to the Strip and hanging out for a couple days and doing whatever and leaving. So having a real sense of place was very important, especially because I live in Brooklyn and it was set there, and the sense of place was so important, and that was scary to me to move it to some other place. So I got to know some people there, and they sort of took me out, showed me the scene, and I was able to do it that way. But I had to feel confident in moving it there. I didn't want it to be an arbitrary thing just for getting the movie made, because it wouldn't work, if I did that.
I'm gonna move back to the back question first. But yes, go ahead. Yes.
Me?
Yep, you.
All right. What was the biggest challenge of filming in a big city like Vegas? And did you have a hard time cooperating with all the public agencies or whatever?
So what was the biggest challenge of filming in a place like Vegas where it's, there's so much going on?
I mean, it's weird. I mean, everything sort of came together in the right way after not coming together at all for a long time. Filming in Paris was a lot harder, I'll tell you that. You have 2 to 3 hours less per day. You're on French hours. So you show up like you had a night shoot, and they can drink wine at meals. It's in their contract. So it's like you show up at 7 for a shoot, and then 8 p.m. is an hour-long lunch or dinner. So nobody can do anything in an hour, and then you're watching your grip drink his 3rd glass of Beaujolais, and then put a 20K light up on a street where there's kids walking. And just, yeah,
somehow they make it work.
But we had a great Paris crew, though. Those guys were incredible, and they pulled off some. I mean, both guys pulled off some pretty stuff way above our budget range for the film in terms of locations and everything. So I got love for everybody on the movie.
Over here, I think there was some more. Yeah, go ahead.
I have 2 questions. One, why is Frank so much older than Lola? And then the second one, when he sees the video, why does that make him assume that she was lying?
So why is Frank so much older than Lola? And when he sees the video, why does he assume that she's lying?
Those are both really good questions. I wanted to make Frank older. I mean, in the script it was 20s and 30s, and as it turned out, Michael was 40 and Imogen was 25, so it's a little bit more of a gap maybe than I'd written originally, but when you have those 2 actors, you sort of have to adapt. But Frank's been through it. This isn't his first rodeo. He's been cheated on before, had his heart broken before, so he has this assumption because she's so much younger that he can kind of handle it. So when she does what she does, it really comes out of left field and really surprises him. It's like the punches that knock you out of the ones you don't see coming kind of thing. So that's one of the reasons. And second question was?
He assumes she's lying.
Oh yeah, he assumes she's lying.
Oh, well, all he knows is she said that she was raped by a family friend in Paris, and then he sees a sex tape of her being completely consensual on the scene, which is obviously not any kind of assault, and that makes him completely spin out. So he gets one version of the story, and Alan shows him a very different and incomplete version of the story, which is what really makes him go crazy until he gets the full version, which is kind of much more upsetting actually than just the single incident, is that she wasn't able to act on her own agency, and the shame that produced was really intense and affecting.
Is there one in the center? Yes. Yes, sir.
The ending, was that originally in the script, or Did you figure that ambiguity of the reflection in the mirror to be the true ending?
So was the ending originally in the script? And
Well, originally it was set in New York, and we had this I had this idea of this sort of Edward Hopper-esque kind of tableau, and Frank sitting alone, and then we pull the camera back and we see that Lola's in a sort of out of focus shot that she's watching it. And when we went to go scout the locations, I knew we needed to find a place where you could see the bar from the entrance. But because of, in Vegas you can't shoot certain things, you can't, and we couldn't figure out how to do that pullback, especially because there's the steps up. And while we're trying to figure this out, me and my DP, people were walking in and out through this door, and then and he just looks at me. As somebody had held the door, we were looking at ourselves in the mirror of the chrome on the, and I was like, he looked at me, I was like, oh, holy shit, man. This is gonna be great. So that's how we did it, yeah.
over here, yes.
So, you said it's kind of ambiguous, and the viewer can choose what they believe about the ending. What would you like the viewers to believe?
So it's ambiguous, but what would you like? Do you have something you'd like the viewer to believe at the end, or is it the intention to keep it more ambiguous?
Well, there's a reason I ended it that way so that I wouldn't want you to feel a certain way. I always like it when you can kind of choose your own adventure in the film a little bit. I have my idea, but once you make this thing and these actors take it over and you get this incredible crew, it takes on its own life, so you don't own it anymore, really. But yeah, I know I have an idea of what I think happens.
Yes, through the middle, yes.
I was working with Michael Shannon.
How is it working with Michael Shannon?
He's a force of nature, man. He's brilliant. He's brilliant, he's complicated, he's a perfectionist. He challenges you. You better know what you're doing, and you better be able to answer his questions, or you'll lose his trust, especially if you're a first-time director on a low-budget independent movie. I'll let you know. So that was a little trial by fire. But Michael's phenomenal. He's phenomenal. I love him. And he's. He put it all on the screen on this. He really went to some places that it was his first romantic lead. He's always been cast as the scary guy or the. So I knew he could kind of turn on that menace in a second if he wanted to, which he does a couple times in the movie. But to get him to soften up, and he's got this really interesting. He's a weird brand of handsomeness and sex appeal that I don't think anybody really kind of tapped into yet. And I thought that and Michael wanted to do it, and he was amazing to work with.
Yes.
Can we believe he sent the tape to Claire anyway?
Oh no, he's not going to send it to her. He just wants that dude to get out of town, get out of her life, leave her alone.
Over here, yes, go ahead.
Why the occupation for the characters?
Why the occupation for the characters? Why did you choose that?
Well, I think there's a real kind of analogy between starting. I love food and cooking. My friend Frank has this restaurant in Brooklyn, so I named a character after him. But there's a real similarity, I think, in starting a restaurant and having it work, and trying to make a movie. It's a sort of similar blend of creativity, dealing with lots of different personalities, trying to make something profitable. So I could really identify with the character. And Lola, originally in New York, she was going to get a job at a magazine, but when we moved to Vegas, there's no real publishing industry there. So I would 85% of the young women who live in Las Vegas are in the service industry of some sort, whether they're, dancers or, car dealers. And I wanted to find out something that wasn't on the strip that she could do. And one of our producers' girlfriends was a fashion designer who worked actually at that location that she worked at. I was like, okay, that could work, if she's trying to make clothes, but she's smart. I had to make her not a Vegas girl, which I don't think Imogen comes across as a Vegas girl, the stripper heels and thongs line that she says to Justin Long in that scene. So yeah, I wanted to come up, that was the challenge. Moving a chef to Vegas from New York is not hard. There's more chefs there than probably anywhere else in the world, but coming up with a new location for Lola and a new occupation that would make her interesting and smart and out of the ordinary, that took a little bit more research.
Yes.
So I thought the contrast between Frank and Claire was interesting, like in the way that they reacted to their lovers, sort of cheating on them, I guess. Was that intentional? And how, I guess, or what inspired Claire? Was she sort of a foil to Frank, or was she, well, I was curious.
So she thought the contrast between Frank and Claire was interesting, and then also that, what was the second part? What's the,
Like, was she
The way they do it.
foil, or
was she a foil, or?
was she inspired by something external?
This is actually a true story. I'm obsessed with Emmanuel Davos, who plays Claire in the film. And I saw this movie, and I was like, I need to write a part in this movie for Emmanuel Davos, but she needs to be older. And then 8 years later, Emmanuel Davos is older, and I'm casting her in my movie, which was really cool. She's the best. She'd never done an English part, she'd never done a real sex scene before, and she just gave me everything. I mean, she's, like, in France, she's like, you know, she's the I don't know, Meryl Streep of France, Glenn Close of France. I mean, she's, I mean, they both want control, you know? They both want to control other people, unsuccessfully. And they both have an arrangement where they want somebody to be the person they want to be and give them the love that they want, but they're not able to do it. So I liked sort of doing a little gender flip, her being a little bit, well, actually, she's the same age as Alan. In the script, she was a little bit older, but and we had the amazing Michael Nyqvist, he was great too. I mean, he's a phenomenal actor as well. Hang out.
We have time for one last question. Up back there. Yes, the woman. Yes.
Did you have any ethical qualms about creating a protagonist that had to fly to Paris to believe his girlfriend about her rape?
Did you have any ethical qualms about the
didn't.
storyline?
He went to Paris to reap revenge on the guy, is what he did.
Well, then why did he have to go through the whole rigmarole of finding out if it was true?
He had no belief that it wasn't true. His plan was, he didn't really know what he was doing. He knew where the guy lived, he was in a bad place, and he was going to go fuck him up. And then they end up sort of having this weird drinks thing where Alan's in control, and then he sees this tape that kind of blows his mind. It's not like he didn't believe her, he totally believed her when he goes there. And then he sees this other thing which just shatters him, and then he just spins out. So no, he wasn't going there to verify her story. He believed her, and he wanted to, in his own sort of weird Neanderthal, monkey brain kind of way, defend her against what had happened before.
We'll go for one more question. Yes. So, as this is your first film, is this your genre? Is this your? Are we going to see more sort of psychological?
What do we call it? Psychosexual noir love stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Psychosexual noir. I
One of the psychosexual noir love stories.
maybe make a black and white version.
No. I love, you know, like so many directors, I love the American films of the 70s and really influenced by so many international directors. I just want to make movies that I would want to see at a movie theater, really. You know, whatever genre it's going to be, something that's smart and that doesn't play down to some kind of fake emotional quality. I wanted to create people that exist in real life, but also exist in a very cinematic story, which hopefully I did with this, and then maybe I didn't, but I want to keep trying to do that.
So thank you so much for bringing your film. It's very original.